Hello, friends.
Hello, everybody. Hi.
Happy Monday. It's the last Monday of the year, of
Yes.
the decade.
Wow, that's a
Wow,
big
is
one.
right. I know.
That is a big one.
I think that just kind of slipped under the radar, didn't it? The
Mhm.
whole decade thing.
Yes.
It wasn't until like this past few weeks, and I was like, oh, wait a minute.
It's the end of an era, the beginning of a new one.
It
Woo.
is. It is.
It's exciting, though.
There's a lot of excitement, a lot of potential, a lot going on. And this is the time of year, so I was journaling recently. It's like this is the time of year that we just have a little bit of extra space for family, for friends, for relationships, for just kind of thinking and processing and planning and all that kind of stuff as we look to a new year.
Yeah, it's a moment of recapping.
Yeah, reflection.
Summarizing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got some tips for us today.
Oh my goodness. I think this part of the year is one of the times of the year that I feel fear and excitement at the same time.
Isn't it funny how they're so closely
connected?
Yes, they are. It even feels very similarly in the body, right? Yeah.
Yes, I feel it around the same part.
Yeah.
And part of what has helped me throughout the years to finish one year and start the next year with intention, with a purpose, is setting a word of the year or setting goals. And I'm not talking about going to the gym and losing weight, and I'm talking about something that is more profound than that. And I use word of the year.
Yeah.
And you've seen my words of the year. So
yeah.
Why choosing a word of the year? Something, when you choose a word of the year, it's a thought that will walk you throughout the entire year. It can be your mantra. Whenever things get difficult, you hang on to that word of the year. You repeat it. Everything that you do is adding towards achieving that word that you want to have as a center in your life.
Yeah. I think it allows us to be a lot more thoughtful and not so reactive.
Yes. I
in
think
our
that's
lives.
good.
Yeah.
Yep. And by having a word of the year, what you're doing is, imagine yourself, you're choosing a place to visit. You choose a country. That's your word of the year. Then you go into the goals. And those are the specific spots that you want to visit within that country.
Right.
I see it that way. I love that.
No, that's a great metaphor. That's a great metaphor. But it is that one word is like that overarching, like you said, the mantra, and the little moments of remembrance of like, what's my purpose for this year?
Yes.
Yeah.
And when we write it down, and I got some percentages, because I know people out there sometimes like percentages. When only 8% of people follow through with their New Year's goals. So 92% of us fall off the wagon because we don't write them down.
Yeah.
When you write down your goals or your word of the year, you're 42% more apt to completing it than if you just think about it and never write it down.
It's that mind-body connection. Yes. It really is, yeah.
You put your brain and your body into writing down those goals, and everything that you do from that moment forward is intentionally moving you closer to achieving those goals and making that word of the year really pop into your life.
Right. So that at the end of 2020,
we can see the results.
Right, of that.
We accumulate experiences that add up to fulfilling and embodying that word of the year.
And it's just those chunks, those small moments. It doesn't have to, it's not huge things. It's those little things over time.
Little things.
Yeah.
And I want to show.
Yay!
I want to share.
I love this.
Yes.
I love this. Giara is the best. Actually, we didn't even introduce ourselves.
Hi,
Dr.
I'm
Giara. And I'm Yolanda. Harper Therapy. Hey guys.
Hello again.
So I love being around Giara because you bring out like the creativity and like the hands to the thing.
Yes.
So share with us.
Okay, so I'm going to share a few things that everybody can do. Yes, I watercolored mine. It can be just on a piece of paper as long as it's yours and it talks to you. So this was last year. Last year, my word was ameliorate, which means to change for the better.
Mm-hmm.
And there were a lot of changes last year in my life, good changes, and everything that I purposefully did was geared towards how can this improve my life? It's like when you're going out to buy a car and you say, okay, I want a Mini Cooper. Okay, you start looking up Mini Coopers. All of a sudden, you notice all the Mini Coopers on the road. Is there that more people bought Mini Coopers? No, it's your intention towards that end goal, which is the Mini Cooper. You start seeing them. Same thing with your goals for the year or your word for the year. You start seeing the opportunities that fulfill the ability of bringing this to fruition.
Yeah. Yes.
And then, do you want to share one of yours?
Well, so I have gotten more intentional about my word of the year over the past couple of years. And for me, it's kind of a reflection of what do I feel like I need more of in my life. So last year, my word of the year was spacious because I felt like just with tasks to be done and like you take a look at our calendars these days and it's just filled. And I felt like I needed some white space in my life. My word for this year is trust. And that was, I came to that after some time of just thinking and meditation and that kind of thing. So, there's so many different resources for us for these. Coming up with our word of the year, coming up with intentions and goals. We here are a resource for that because it's something that we love to do.
Yes.
So, this is a goal planner. And what I've come to do over the past several years is a vision board. And that's just my overarching vision board. But you see my word. This camera always kills me. Over this way.
Here, yep.
Trust.
There you go.
Trust. There we go. So this is my vision board is something that I create every year, and then I put it right in my bedroom, right above I have a little writing desk in my bedroom, but I put it where I can see it every morning, day, right? Because these are visual representations of the goals that I'm working towards.
And by doing this, you can actually bring more intention into what you're working for. It's not the same thing. I want to buy a house. Then you say, I want to buy a house with 2 bedrooms, 2 baths, and a little backyard. You have the image, so you're looking specifically for that, and you're not going to settle for something that is different from that.
Well, and subconsciously, your brain is seeing that on a regular basis. So we have our mapped out, like this is where I write the things out, right? These are where I write out the action steps.
Yes.
But then even subconsciously, as I'm seeing those images in the words that I put on my vision board and those reminders, it's just that reminder day in and day out.
I actually have that vision board, but I have it in my planner. So this was 2019, and I made this little notebook that I just added images of what I wanted my year to be. That way, every time I opened my agenda, it was there for me to be reminded of. And that's another thing you can do. It doesn't have to be a big board. It can be something that you can carry. And when we actually work with that, and you have the goal planner is amazing.
And then I have this. This is just another little. There we go with the camera again. But that has my word of the year, trust, on there. It also has I have my core values of love and that kind of thing on here as well. That's just another touch base of when I'm working in this. Right. It's what works for each one of us, right?
Yes, bringing that, it's finding a word that inspires you, that fulfills you. It's finding a word that when embodied has a final and measurable thing that you can look at, you can grab onto. And I like that you did the trust and then the core values around. My word for 2020 is create.
I don't think I knew this until today. Yay.
It is create. And I divided it into more areas. It's create joy, create prosperity, create health, create like an overall sense of well-being. But the ongoing topic will be create.
Yeah, and that is a great point to make as far as our word of the year, we can put those into each element of our life,
Yes.
right? So we have our physical well-being, we have our emotional well-being, we have relationships, we have financial, we have, our spirituality, our work lives. So that element of our word of the year can expand into each of those areas.
And by doing that, you share your word with your support group. Because I remember us last year.
Yes.
There were moments like spaciousness. You're
right?
Like,
How does that fit in with spaciousness?
It
doesn't. It makes me feel like that.
So when you share your word with your
Yes.
support group, they can also help you in your process of embodying that word and healing and growing through that word. Setting aside 10 to 15 minutes every day to work towards something that feeds and fulfills your word of the year. And it can be something, in my case, it's create. So it can either be creating a budget for that week, or it can be creating a little piece of artwork, or it can be creating a connection with somebody. It can be creating an experience, all of those things.
Yeah.
And then choosing music. This one I like when I was doing the research for the blog. Choosing a song that can go with your word of the year. Because sometimes we're driving and we can't really look at our vision boards. But if we have what I call the fight song, and you put on that song as you're driving, you are remembering, this is what I'm working towards this year. This is related to my word of the year.
Yeah.
And then finally, try not to multitask. I mean, this may seem like a lot of stuff to do. It's not.
It's just different examples.
It's different examples. You just focus on the one thing that you want to achieve, that you put your intention to, and then you laser focus on it. When we multitask, we tend to divide our attention on a lot of things. Just doing one thing for 10 to 15 minutes, making that word come to life.
Love it.
Love it.
I love it. Yay. All right, guys. Share what your word of the year is in the comments. We would love to hear that and love to support you as we travel through 2020 together.
Yes.
So thanks for joining us today. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year's, everybody.
All right, guys.
Bye-bye.
Have a good one.